serious now. Just because we're landing in New York tomorrow, it's no reason to lose track of each other.
But really, we must get together sometime, all of us. I really mean it.
Having fun, honey?
Perfect, just perfect. I wish it could go on forever.
That's all. I feel he should be here, on the bridge where he commanded.
That's true, sir. Captain Ashton never did feel quite at home without the taste of salt in the air.
What are we making, Mr. Johnson?
22 knots, sir. We're just passing the light.
Good, we're right on schedule. Gentlemen.
Captain?
I want to express my appreciation for the wonderful cooperation you've given me on this voyage. I especially want to thank you, Mr. Ranker.
Only doing my duty, sir.
I somehow never expected Captain Ashton. He seemed so indestructible. When I suddenly had to step into his shoes, it all but scared me stiff.
That's pretty normal, sir.
I'm just glad I had you available to take over as chief.
Thank you, Captain Barry.
Well, I suppose I should join my guests in the dining room.
That's part of the captain's duties, sir. Socializing, especially on the last night out.
I suppose so. Carry on.
Yes, sir.
Danced beautifully, Captain Barrett.
I'm a little bit rusty. My wife says I creak at the joints.
Oh. Are you married?
Yes, indeed.
Happily?
Very.
What was that?
I don't know. Would you excuse me, please? I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Certainly. Maybe we hit a whale. Oh, goodness, 10 o'clock. I promised the children I'd look in on them. I'll see you later. Don't be too long.
The ship's on fire! The ship's on fire!
Don't panic! Don't panic, no one will get hurt. Go to the boat deck. Go to the boat deck. Don't panic, and no one will get hurt. Don't panic, no one will get hurt. Go to the boat deck. Take your places in the boat behind you. Take your places in the boat behind you. Put on your life preservers. Put on your life preservers.
Chief, give us all the pressure you've got. The spar is spreading fast.
Captain. Captain Barry. Captain, we need help. Will you order an SOS? Captain, what are your orders? I'm taking command, sir. Hold us steady on course. Aye, sir. Mr. Johnson. Aye, sir. Go to the radio shack. Contact all ships and stations in the vicinity. Request immediate help. Yes, sir. Mr. Clark? Aye, sir. You'll take charge of the port side boats. Tell Mr. Alberts to take the starboard boats. Aye, sir.
Mr. Ranker,
Yes, Captain.
Ship is finished.
I know, sir.
What happened, man? What happened?
Explosion after well deck. I don't know what it was, sir.
Crew. Trapped.
Some of them, yes, sir.
Mr. Ranker, launch the boats. I want you and one of them to take command till they're picked up.
What about yourself, sir?
I'll be all right. Now get out of here. Now!
Yes, sir.
Engine room. In 15 minutes, open everything wide. And get out of there. Abandon ship. Keep her on course.
Aye, sir.
Let me get through and do
Help's on its way, sir. 3 Coast Guard boats coming up from Seal Head Light.
Now, they should be here in half an hour.
The SS Valhalla and the SS Navarne are on their way too, sir.
Send this to all ships and stations. My boats are being launched and changing course. Heading for the coast, I mean to Beecher. Barrett, master.
Aye, sir.
When you send that, get out of here. Abandon ship.
Aye, aye, sir.
Hard left rudder.
Hard left. We're losing way, sir.
Still enough power to make the beach. I'll take the wheel. Get over the side.
Hard left, sir.
Don't panic, no one will get hurt. Don't panic, and no one will get hurt. Put on your life preserver. Put on your life preserver.
Old man's fault. It said so in the newspapers.
It did not. It did not.
Did so. 162 people got killed, and it was your old man's fault.
He's not my old man. He's my daddy.
He's my daddy. He's my daddy.
Now, beat it. Leave the girl alone.
Who says?
I says. Go on now, scat. Scat, go on. Go on, get along. Move along there. Hey there, young fella. How are you today, huh? Well, where'd the cat put your tongue, huh?
My mother told us not to talk to strangers, especially if they're reporters.
Oh.
What's the matter, Janie?
He's a reporter.
Are you a reporter?
Yes.
Haven't you people done us enough harm? And all of you standing around here snooping, frightening little children. You're a policeman. Can't you do something about this?
Yes, ma'am. Come on, you folks. Let's get going. Move on, please. You too, buddy. Come on.
Another reporter out there?
Yes.
You kids go in the playroom.
Mommy,
She'll be all right. Go ahead.
if I had a machine gun, I'd make those reporters sorry.
None of that.
Jimmy.
You don't have to worry. I really won't kill them.
Come on, Jim.
I'm sorry, darling. I'm all right now.
Sure you are.
That reporter and those people out there. It was the last straw, especially after what they've been saying in the papers.
I know. Survivors are hysterical, but the newspapers print whatever they say is gospel. They don't know any more about it than I do. You'll have to take the kids someplace.
But the Coast Guard hearing is today.
I know. That's why I want you to go. The newspapers will be full of it. It'll be worse than ever.
Do you really think I could leave you?
Look, you... All right. Thanks, hon.
Darling, what could happen to you at the hearing?
Oh, if there's even a hint that it's my fault, I'm as good as blacklisted. I couldn't get another berth as a deckhand on a Staten Island ferry.
What will you tell them?
Nothing. Except what I've told you over and over. Some of the sailors didn't look right to me. They might have been careless. I don't know. I just don't know.
Darling.
The man is no better than a cold-blooded murderer. I'll spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair because of him. And did he get even one scratch? No. Did anyone see him at any time during the fire? No. Why do we need a hearing? How many of us are crippled? How many of you lost your wives or your husbands? Do we need a hearing to find out whose fault it is? It was his fault. His!
This board has carefully considered all the evidence and testimony. The destruction by fire of the SS Paradise is the worst such tragedy within our memory, exceeded only by the General Slocum disaster at the beginning of the century. Many lives have been lost, many persons badly injured. Some of them may die. We are convinced that the fault lies largely with one man, guilty of gross negligence. Jeremy Barrett, we believe that you, as captain, are culpably responsible for this disaster. And it is our decision, therefore, to recommend to the Attorney General of the United States of America that you, Jeremy Barrett, be prosecuted in a federal district court for the crime of manslaughter. These hearings are concluded.
I have no desire to prevent him from testifying. But if McCullough takes the stand, I owe it to my client to subpoena his records. And I doubt if his bookkeeping would stand close scrutiny. Right. Why don't you drop by tomorrow? We can discuss it then. Right. I doubt if McCullough'll show within 20 miles of the court.
You're a magician with those tough cases. But you know something? We haven't had lunch yet.
Hey, what about a Carson special, huh?
Pâté de foie?
Delicious on a day like this.
I wish you'd settle for salami around here instead of that fancy stuff.
Tony, you're a great private investigator, but you got no flair for food.
You know, I had a hunch you'd call by now.
Who's that?
Let's see, Captain. They really got him up against the wall.
Barrett?
Mm-hmm. Brother, does he need you?
From what I've read, he's lucky he wasn't lynched.
One thing's for sure, you're the only lawyer in this town who could give him any kind of a chance.
You think so?
140 straight acquittals.
You sound like some of my best enemies. Dave Carson is so successful, he owns his own ambulance.
Ah, what am I thinking about anyway? Where would he get the kind of money for your fee?
From the Phillips line.
Well, why should they help him? He's already cost them enough losing that big ship.
An employer is responsible for the acts of his employee, right?
Right.
If Barrett is found guilty, it'll cost the Phillips line millions of dollars in damage suits. If he's acquitted, then the fire becomes an act of God.
And they won't have to pay anybody, is that it?
Oh, they'll still have to pay him something. But if the fire is an act of God, then the limit of liability law comes into effect. Limits the amount of damages any one person can collect. Save the Phillips line millions of dollars. Maybe even save him from bankruptcy.
You've been thinking about this case, too, haven't you? I'll bet you're expecting a call.
Not from Barrett.
No? Yes, Margie. You say there's a Mr. McClay of the Phillips line here to see Mr. Carson?
Send him in.
Send him in, Margie.
Cute youngsters. That should be an asset.
Hey, you want them in court?
If I need them, we'll see. Let me see. Your name is Barrett. That's right. Janie Barrett, huh? And you're Jimmy, aren't you?
How did you know?
He knows everything, honey.
Are you a reporter?
Me? Oh, I should say not.
He's a lawyer, and he's going to help your daddy.
Is he home?
Yeah, come on in.
All right. You haven't given us very much, Jerry.
I don't know what else to say. I've been accused of being negligent and incompetent. I just don't think I was.
You haven't told him about the crew.
What about the crew?
They were all right, I guess.
Well, what do you mean, you guess?
Well, some of them are careless or stupid. They're just not doing their jobs properly.
Would you recognize any of them if you saw them?
I don't think so.
Where'd you get them?
We signed on some sailors down at Port-au-Prince. They might have come from there.
All right, let's say there was some sloppy sailors. Do you know the fire was their fault? Can you prove it?
No.
Tony Armand is my private investigator. He's the best there is. If these alleged sailors exist, he could find them. Only how do you expect him to do that on what you've given us? Well, that'll be all for now. I've arranged for the Phillips line to furnish a bail.
Do you think I'd have a chance?
I think you've got an attractive family. That's one of your assets.
I see. Do I have any other assets?
Sure you do, Barrett. You're a lawyer.
I'll phone you later in the day. Goodbye, Mrs. Barrett.
Goodbye, Mr. Carson.
Are you sure Robin won't mind me barging in for dinner this week?
Oh, I told you what she said on the phone. She's delighted you come.
I wish my wife was that understanding.
Hi, Robin.
Hello, you two.
How's my girl?
A little tired of waiting. It's 8 o'clock.
Oh, everything burned? I'll just nibble on your ear.
Hello, Tony. It's good to see you. My, it's been a long time.
Sure has, Robin. Used to see you in court all the time, but you don't come there anymore.
No, you don't. And why not? I thought you got such a kick out of seeing the master in action.
Well, I have this big house to take care of, remember?
Oh, yes, so you have.
How about a martini?
Oh, I'd like one, thank you.
Easy on the vermouth, Robin.
Too late. You're already mixed. Well, what kind of a case sends you two out to Long Island?
Oh, nothing much. A man named Barrett lives out that way.
Barrett. Isn't that the captain of the SS Paradise?
That's right.
Oh, David, you can't take that case.
Why not?
The man killed 162 people. He was almost lynched in New York.
Lynch mobs never proved a man guilty.
But he is guilty. All those people dead or crippled because of sheer incompetence?
Newspaper talk. Besides, I'm being paid for it. As a matter of fact, the biggest fee I've ever received.
Well, we don't need the money, David.
Well, that's a funny attitude. This is something new. Since when did you start objecting to my clients?
For a long time now. You asked me why I hadn't been down to the courthouse lately. Well, some of your clients who pay your big fees make my skin crawl. Bunch of gangsters and killers. Sure, they've made you a celebrated lawyer, but what kind?
Look, boss,
I'm sorry, Tony. That's what you get for being so close to the family.
Maybe I better...
No, it's all right. Sarah's got dinner on us ready. Let's have our drinks and then we'll eat.
Relax. Robin's been a little bit panicked because the newspapers have convicted Barrett without a trial. But I know Robin. She's been around the law too long not to know that a man, guilty or innocent, is entitled to his day in court. Yeah, Margie.
Mr. Carson, Captain Barrett is here.
Have him wait, please, Margie.
Yes, sir.
Go to trial in an hour. For the first time in my life, I don't feel prepared.
We have no case. That's what's missing.
Barrett's been no help at all.
He's a nice guy, but I guess even nice guys can be guilty.
You think so, too, huh?
This case is a rough one, Dave. I've been your investigator for 10 years, and this is the first time I can't find out a thing.
It's not your fault.
I know everything about everybody in the jury panel. Period. That's our case.
Send him in, Margie.
Morning.
Hi, Jerry. Your wife going to meet us in court?
No, I thought it'd be easier on her if she stayed home.
I told you I wanted her there. I'm running this defense. I want her in court every day. She'll help create sympathy for you with the jury.
All right.
Relax, Jerry. You're not in jail yet.
Am I likely to be?
Frankly, I don't know.
You think I'm guilty, don't you?
I'm only interested in what the jury thinks.
Look, Mr. Carson, I know you're a big man. You got big fees, big reputation. But how are you going to convince anyone else that I'm innocent if you don't believe it yourself? I am innocent. I swear to God.
Maybe you are.
Dave, it's about 9:30. Maybe we better get started.
No more postponements?
No, I've delayed the trial all I can. Wendell is boiling. Even the judge is angry. But don't worry, Jerry. That won't hurt your chances.
No?
An angry man can make mistakes. Let's go. Like we have some fans.
Yeah, I've been through this once before.
The only popularity contest I want to win is the one inside. With 12 good men and true. Come on.
Yeah.
You hope you'll win it.
Everybody rise. The United States District Court for the Southern District of New York is now in session. The Honorable Judge Arthur Farrell. Be seated, please.
The United States versus Jeremy Barrett.
Are both sides ready?
The government is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Will counsel come forward to the bench, please?
Like at the fights, the referee giving instructions to the fighters.
I shall allow each side 20 peremptory challenges. And of course, there will be no limit on challenges for cause. I've been studying these questions you gentlemen wish me to ask the talisman. One of yours, Mr. Wendell, and two of yours, Mr. Carson, are improper, and I shall not ask them.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have requested extra guards placed on duty for this trial. There will be no demonstrations against the defendant. If anything like that occurs, I will clear the courtroom and, if necessary, declare a mistrial. Now, gentlemen, I want an orderly trial. You will direct your remarks to the court rather than to each other.
I want no bickering between counsel.
I trust that will not hamper you too much, Mr. Carson.
No, Your Honor.
That's all, thank you. We will select 14 jurors, 2 of them being alternates. As the clerk reads your names, please take seats in the jury box. All right, Mr. Clerk.
James Ruskin. Harold O'Malley. Walter Fetterman. Mary Lamont. Edward Gonzalez.
You and each of you do solemnly swear you will true answers give to the following questions about to be put to you, inquiring into your several qualifications as jurors.
That these answers will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Be seated, please.
If any of you wish to make individual answers to my questions, please raise your hand. Will the members of the panel not yet sworn in please pay close attention to the questions also? Do any of you know any reason why you cannot or should not serve on this jury? Are any of you related by blood or marriage, or connected in business, professional, or friendship manner with the defendant, his counsel, the United States Attorney, or anyone else in any way connected with this case? Your name, please?
Mary Lamont. Mrs. Mary Lamont?
Do you know someone connected with this case?
Well, my husband is employed by the Phillips Line.
That is the company that owned the SS Paradise?
Yes.
Is he acquainted with the defendant, Jeremy Barrett?
Yes. They were officers on the sister ship, the SS Eden.
Do you think this would prejudice you in the defendant's behalf to such an extent that you could not be a fair and impartial juror in this case?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
Paul, I want her as a juror. Can we make a deal?
The government challenges this talisman for cause.
Challenge granted. You're excused, Mrs. Lamont.
Margaret Dunning.
Therefore, there is no question in our minds that the disaster which befell the SS Paradise was caused by inexperience, incompetence, and above all, the gross negligence of one man, the defendant, Jeremy Barrett. Think of it, ladies and gentlemen. All those people dead, all those people crippled, because this man did his job badly.
Your Honor, I object to that statement as being inflammatory and highly improper. Counsel should know better than to say anything like that in his opening address.
Objection sustained. The jury will disregard the remark.
I'm sorry to have been carried away like that, but let me just say this. That when you've heard all the testimony, you will know that we have proved our case beyond all reasonable doubt. And you'll be able to reach only one verdict. Guilty as charged. Thank you.
Mr. Carson?
At this time, Your Honor, the defense will waive its opening.
Very well. Call your first witness, Mr. Wendell.
Call Commander Andes, please.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Be seated. Give your name, rank, and address to the stenographer, please.
Lieutenant Commander John Andes, Division of Marine Investigation, United States Coast Guard, New York City.
Well, Mr. Wendell, what is this thing?
It's an easel, Counselor.
Looks pretty meaningless to me. Maybe it's symbolic of your entire case, huh?
Before I'm finished, you won't think my case is so meaningless.
I have asked you, gentlemen, to refrain from unnecessary remarks. Shall I place that in the form of an order?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Proceed, Mr. Wendell.
Commander, what are your duties in the Department of Marine Investigation?
I'm a marine engineer, sir, and I have many duties.
If the witness is to testify as a technical expert, I will concede his qualifications in the interest of saving time.
Thank you. Commander, did you, in the line of duty, conduct an investigation into the cause of the fire in the SS Paradise?
I did.
By the way, where is the SS Paradise now? Do you know?
She is lying in 200 fathoms of water, 30 miles off the coast of New York.
How did she get there?
She was a serious menace to navigation. So she was towed out to sea by Navy tugs and sunk by demolition crews.
I see. In other words, sir, what had once been a beautiful luxury liner is now a charred hulk.
Just a moment. Your Honor, this is a deliberate attempt to inflame the minds of the jury. I move for a mistrial.
Since the question had not been completed, I will deny your motion.
Exception.
You will disregard the last unfinished question of the United States Attorney. It is enough for you to know that the SS Paradise has been sunk.
I now object to Your Honor's last remark and renew my motion for a mistrial. What has happened to the SS Paradise since the fire can have no possible bearing on this trial and can serve no purpose but to inflame the minds of the jury against the defendant.
Motion denied. However, I agree with counsel that reference to the ship since the fire is out of order. I therefore order my last remark stricken from the record, and the jury is instructed to disregard it.
I accept to the court's ruling denying my motion for a mistrial.
Exception noted. Proceed, Mr. Wendell.
What was the purpose of your investigation?
To gather evidence for the Coast Guard hearing, to seek out structural defects, if any, so that they could be corrected in future ship construction.
In reference to the Coast Guard investigation, under what authority did you proceed?
Under Coast Guard Regulation 200, titled Marine Investigation Regulations and Suspension and Revocation Proceedings, as revised in 1953 and published in the Federal Register on April the 13th of that year.
This is a legal procedure of the United States Coast Guard.
That is correct, sir.
When is this procedure operative?
In every major sea disaster involving an American ship.
So, the Coast Guard considered the disaster on the SS Paradise a major sea disaster.
Does anyone doubt that?
The witness may answer yes or no.
Yes.
Was a Coast Guard hearing held?
Don't answer that. Your Honor, I will object to any reference to any hearing or proceeding in connection with the fire aboard the SS Paradise that may have been conducted prior to this trial. It is an indication to the jury of a judgment of guilt by persons in authority before this trial, and is highly prejudicial to my client's rights to a fair and impartial trial before a fair and impartial jury.
It is my opinion that the Coast Guard hearing constitutes an integral part of the government's investigation and preparation for the present trial, and I will therefore allow full use of any part of that investigation.
It is my opinion that the court's ruling is a reversible error.
I'll take that chance.
Did you say chance, sir? Do you want the jury to get the impression that this is a gambling game with my client's future as the stakes?
I consider that an outrageous attack on my integrity. You are bordering close on contempt, sir.
I will fight with every drop of energy I possess to protect the rights of my client.
I, too, am concerned with your client's rights. And I am equally concerned with the rights of all the people of the United States.
Your ruling...
I don't want to hear another word on the subject. Sit down, Mr. Carson.
Your ruling...
Sit down, sir, or I'll hold you in contempt.
Exception.
Exception noted. The jury will disregard what has passed between defense counsel and the court. Personality clashes have no bearing on the issue of this trial.
Well, score one for our side.
That was good for us?
When a judge gets mad at the lawyer, the jury feels sorry for the lawyer, sympathy for the underdog. So if you haven't got a good case, fight with the judge.
May we proceed, Your Honor?
The fire started here, in the after-deck paint locker.
Would you point that out on the scale model, too, please, sir?
Right here.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Would you sit down, please, Commander? What was the condition of this paint locker at the time of your inspection?
It had been shattered by an explosion.
Did the explosion cause the fire?
It was impossible to determine that. The damage was too extensive.
I see. When did you first go aboard the SS Paradise?
The next morning after the fire.
And where on the ship did you go first?
To the bridge.
Why?
Routine procedure. I wanted to impound the ship's papers, and Captain Barrett had told me that he had left them there.
I see. And did you get the ship's papers?
What was left of them? These ashes.
How did you determine these ashes to be the remains of the ship's papers?
By chemical and microscopic test.
Your Honor, I now offer these ashes in evidence.
Do you wish to examine the exhibit, Mr. Carson?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Do you object to its being received?
No, sir.
Mark it in evidence.
Government's Exhibit 8 received in evidence.
Please let the jurors examine the exhibit. Is it general practice for a captain to leave the ship's papers behind when he abandons ship?
General procedures for the master to think first of the safety of his passengers and crew, and then of the safety of his papers. They should have been left in a fireproof safe or wrapped in oil silk and taken along when the master abandoned ship.
In the case of the SS Paradise, this was not done.
It was not. The papers were left to be consumed by fire.
Defense counsel has kindly conceded your qualifications as an expert. I now ask you this, in your capacity as an expert witness, of course. Would you say that the action of the defendant, leaving his important papers behind to be consumed by fire, was the action of an experienced ship's master?
To put it mildly, I would say that Captain Barrett's behavior was that of a grossly negligent man.
Now, at the Coast Guard hearing...
I renew my objection to any testimony regarding that hearing. Overruled. Exception.
At the Coast Guard hearing, did you hear the defendant testify to his belief that some of his crew may have been incompetent?
I did.
Were you able to find proof of any such alleged incompetence?
I was not.
On the other hand, did any members of the ship's crew or any of the ship's officers express to you their opinion as to the experience and ability of the defendant in his capacity as master of a large ocean liner?
They did.
Who said it and what was said?
Objection. Such testimony would be mere hearsay. The United States Attorney wishes to offer such proof. Let him present the crew members as witnesses.
I intend to, Mr. Carson. I'll withdraw the question. You may examine.
How long have you been a sailor, sir?
22 years.
Have you ever had your own command at sea?
No, sir.
When I conceded you are an expert, I was referring to your qualifications as a marine engineer. You understood that, did you not?
I did.
Have you ever studied psychology or any science that deals with human behavior?
No.
Would you be able to qualify as an expert on how any one man would react to conditions of terrible stress and strain?
Well, no.
And since you've never had your own command, you have no way of knowing how you yourself would react in an emergency at sea, have you?
Well, not exactly.
Yet you gave it as your expert opinion that Captain Barrett was grossly negligent because he failed to safeguard a bunch of papers while operating under conditions of great stress and strain, did you not?
Well, What I was...
Commander Andes, place yourself, if you can, in Captain Barrett's shoes on that dreadful night of horror at sea. You are watching your first command go down in a flaming nightmare. People burned and trampled to death. Others injured and crippled. Isn't it possible that you yourself, at a time like that, would not have given a single thought to a bunch of worthless papers?
He'll get Barrett acquitted yet.
Objection, Your Honor. The answer calls for a conclusion on the part of the witness.
Objection sustained.
If it pleases the court, may we adjourn at this time? I have a very severe headache.
All right, Mr. Carson.
Thank you, sir.
The witness is excused. Members of the jury, we will adjourn until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, do not discuss this case among yourselves. Do not allow anyone else to discuss it with you. And do not make up your mind as to the guilt or innocence of this defendant until all of the testimony has been concluded and the case given into your hands for a verdict.
Please remain seated until the jury leaves the room.
Oh, Mrs. Barrett.
Oh, I'm sorry you have a headache, Mr. Carson. I have some aspirin in my bag.
I don't have a headache. I just didn't want to spoil the effect of the sympathy I built up for Jerry with that last question. Hi, big fella.
Hi.
Hello, little one.
Hi, Mr. Carson.
Captain, I wanted to wish you good luck.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Ranker. Oh, Mr. Carson, Mr. Armour.
Hello, Mr. Ranker.
Met my family.
Yes,
Hello, Mr.
Miss
Rankin.
Barrett. I wish there was something I could do to help.
Thanks, that's very nice of you.
I mean it, sir. Is there anything I can do?
Plenty. Only I'm afraid I'd be accused of tampering with a government witness.
I suppose so, since I do have to testify. Well, again, good luck, Captain. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Good man, that Ranker. I wish the others were like him.
Barrett, you killed my wife and kids. Let go!
Let me go! He's a murderer! Let me go!
You all right, hon?
Oh, I'm fine.
The kids hurt?
Oh, they're all right.
He missed us by a mile.
Attaboy, Jimmy.
Look, I don't care if it means losing the case. The kids stay home from now on. The kids stay home. Come on, sir.
Give your name and address to the stenographer, please.
H.B. McClay, 249 Broadway, New York City.
What is your business, Mr. McClay?
I'm president of the Phillips line.
The owners of the SS Paradise?
Yes.
I know you're a reluctant witness, sir, but you do want to help us arrive at the truth, do you not?
Certainly.
Will you explain to the court and the jury the circumstances of the appointment of Jeremy Barrett as captain of the SS Paradise?
We received word from Port-au-Prince that Captain Dominic Ashton had died of a brain clot. Our executives met to consider a temporary replacement. Mr. Ranker was the older and more experienced man, but Mr. Barrett was chief officer. He was Captain Ashton's protege and a good man, too. So we decided to let him bring the Paradise back to New York.
You felt nothing could go wrong.
Well, Paradise was a great ship. The weather outlook was good. No, we didn't think anything could go wrong.
Did you at any time consider the advisability of holding the SS Paradise in port down there until you could send an experienced relief captain from New York to take over?
We considered it.
But you didn't do it?
No.
Why not?
The delay would have been too costly.
Do you mean to say, sir, you put cost above the safety of the hundreds of persons who were your passengers?
Objection. The question is irrelevant to the issues at trial.
Sustained.
I have no further questions of you, Mr. McClay. Now, Mr. Johnson, as second officer of the SS Paradise, you know something about the discipline among the crew, do you not?
I do.
How was discipline under Captain Ashton?
Strict. We had a taut ship.
And how was it under Captain Barrett?
He was too lenient with the crew. They had no respect for him.
And how did the crew show this lack of respect?
By not doing their work. We had to be after them all the time. Captain Barrett never made inspection tours, so the crew took advantage.
Did you ever complain about the crew to Captain Barrett?
Yes, sir.
What did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
I told him the paint locker, among other things, was constantly messed up and asked him to punish certain crewmen. He told me to relax. He said, I don't believe in harsh discipline, Mr. Johnson. Be lenient with the crew. They know their jobs.
And were you lenient with them?
I had to be. Captain's orders.
I see. Where were you when the fire started?
On duty on the bridge.
Where was Captain Barrett?
Socializing.
Exactly what do you mean by that?
There was a big party in the main dining room. The captain's dinner. He was there.
Did Captain Barrett come to the bridge after the fire started?
He did.
Did you see him?
Yes.
Did he take command?
No, sir. Mr. Ranker did.
Why?
Captain Barrett didn't seem in condition to take command.
What was his condition?
He was staggering. He seemed to be drunk.
I ask that last remark be stricken from the record. It is an obvious conclusion by the witness.
Sustained. Strike the remark from the record.
Tony, where's David?
Hello, Robin. He's coming right up.
Hello, Robin.
Hello, David. Will you take me to lunch?
I knew my luck had to change sometime today. Sure. Come on.
This case looks pretty bad, doesn't it?
I just haven't had my inning yet.
I don't think you will. I think you're finally going to lose a case.
You don't sound as if you'd be very sorry.
Why should I be? Jerry Barrett's guilty. Everything I heard in court proves that he deserves to be convicted.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Why did you really take this case?
That's a silly question. I'm a lawyer. You're really going off on a tangent lately.
You can be ashamed of your husband just so long.
Really?
Tax dodgers, hoodlums, dirty politicians. The worst kind of human beings. 140 of them put back into circulation by my husband. David, you haven't any real friends?
I'm not concerned about friends.
No, I guess not. Just seeing your name on the front page. People calling you the legal genius. I guess that's what you really want, isn't it? Oh, David, I don't want to really believe that. Please withdraw from this case.
I couldn't do that even if I wanted to.
Plead Jerry Barrett guilty.
No, I can't.
David, listen to me.
No, you listen to me. I admit I took the Barrett case because I thought it would be another feather in my cap. That's not why I'm sticking with it. Jerry Barrett is innocent. My only concern is to save him.
How do you know he's innocent? What proof do you have?
Nothing except the man's character, but I've gotten to know him very well.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I don't believe a word of that.
Robin, I've never lied to you.
David, it isn't me. You're lying to yourself.
I'm in this because Barrett needs the best help he can get.
I suppose you think you're helping him by bringing those children into court and risking their lives.
Did I know some madman was going to start popping off with a gun? It isn't fair of you to accuse me of that.
Well, I can accuse you of being the egomaniac that you are. I hope you lose this case.
Thanks.
I'm going away, David. I'm going to go stay with my sister in New Rochelle.
When will you be back?
I don't know. It's up to you.
You may proceed, Mr. Wendell.
You were the after-deck boatswain on the SS Paradise, is that correct?
I was the after-deck bosun.
The court takes judicial notice of the correct pronunciation.
I stand corrected. Now, bosun, what are the duties of an after-deck bosun?
Same as any other bosun.
Most of us don't know what a bosun does. Would you tell us?
I blow the whistle.
You do what?
Blow the whistle. whistle, the pipe. Here's what I do.
Does anything happen when you do that?
Oh, you bet your... Yes.
What?
Oh, all kinds of things. Maybe Chip sounds the bilge, or a couple of monkeys slush down the shrouds, and things like that.
I'm afraid some of us might not be acquainted with your jargon. Could you say it another way, please?
I believe the witness means that on his instructions, certain crewmen perform certain duties. Is that correct?
That's what I said, Your Honor.
Were you responsible for discipline, too?
Oh, no, not me. That was the old man's job.
What old man?
The captain.
How was discipline under Captain Ashton?
Oh, we had a tight ship. He was always on our tails.
And how was it under Captain Barrett?
Well, I didn't have nothing against him, you understand, but after he became captain, he never came back to inspect. That's why some of the guys goofed off.
Thank you, Bosun. You may examine.
Which sailors goofed off?
Well, most of the new ones that signed on at Port-au-Prince. See, a lot of the crew jumped ship after we docked. About 50 or 60 ABs. The captain had to replace them so he could get port clearance.
What are ABs?
Able-bodied seamen.
Where are these new men now?
Around, I guess.
Have you seen any of them since the fire?
Well, I don't know. We had a crew of 200 to 300. I can't remember them all.
No further questions.
You do solemnly swear that testimony you're about to give in the case now on trial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Martinez, you were an able-bodied seaman aboard the SS Paradise?
Yeah.
To what part of the ship were you assigned?
The afterdeck.
I want you to think very carefully before you answer this. Did you ever, at any time, see Captain Barrett back there?
No.
That's all. You may examine.
When did you get out of prison?
That question is highly improper. There's no evidence this witness has ever been in prison.
I'll rephrase the question. Were you ever in prison?
Yeah.
Where?
Santiago de Cuba.
Speak up so the last juror can hear you.
Santiago de Cuba.
When were you released?
3 months ago.
Where do you live?
78 West Street.
I asked the court to take judicial notice of this report from the city engineer. It verifies that there is no such address as 78 West Street. Mr. Tony Edmond of my office has investigated the addresses of all the government witnesses. He has found several to be false.
Where do you live? And I want the truth.
150 East 10th Street.
Why did you lie?
I try to go straight. I don't want anyone to know I've been in prison.
Well, you tell the truth from now on, or you'll be back in prison.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Carson.
What is your real name?
Peter Sanchez.
Is that the name on your AB ticket?
Yes.
May I see that ticket, please? Just the ticket. Thank you. No further questions.
This court is recessed until 2 o'clock. And let me again remind the jury, do not discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else.
You couldn't possibly see his face, huh?
Nope.
Too bad. Too bad. Still, a pattern is beginning to form. I have a hunch, Tony. Yeah, I have a hunch.
Johnson seems scared to death.
Yes, he does seem nervous. And testifying against your own captain isn't the easiest thing in the world for a man to have to do.
Milo Ratvich.
Where did you join the crew of the SS Paradise?
Port-au-Prince.
Are you an able-bodied seaman?
Yeah.
Let me see your ticket, please. Your Honor, I want to submit this in evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
Mark it in evidence.
Defendant's Exhibit 7 received in evidence.
All right, step down to the scale model, Radvich. Where were you standing when the fire broke out?
Here.
What do you call that part of the ship?
The afterdeck.
What's the starboard side of the ship?
Over here, on the right.
I'm asking you.
Over here, on the left.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. Point out the fore and aft funnels.
We don't have none. This be modern ship. I don't think we have them.
All right, you can go back to the stand. Would you make a carrack bend, please?
Huh?
A carrack bend. It's a common sailor's knot. You know how to make it, don't you?
I forgot.
Oh, well, I'll give you an easy one. Make a studding sail halyard bend.
I can't.
Can you make a fisherman's bend?
No.
Can you make a granny?
No.
A cat's paw?
No.
A black wall hitch?
No.
A bowline?
I can't.
Why? Why can't you make these knots?
I only be sailor 3 months.
Oh, you've only been a sailor 3 months, huh? 3 months. And yet your AB ticket was issued on May 15th, 1948. That's a lot longer than 3 months, isn't it, Radvich?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that ticket? You're in trouble, Radvich. Bad trouble. You better start telling the truth. What's your right name?
Petrov. Michael Petrov.
And where did you get that ticket?
I bought it in Port-au-Prince for $200. Most of the people did. Also those that signed on in Port-au-Prince. It was the only way we could get into this country.
Who did they buy them from?
Different people. Bartenders, hotel clerks. People like that.
And it's a racket, this selling of tickets. A vicious racket, huh?
Yeah.
Now, you say that all of the men who signed on at Port-au-Prince had phony AB tickets, huh?
Except maybe 1 or 2.
Your Honor, I have here a list of the 57 men who signed on the SS Paradise at Port-au-Prince. At my direction, Mr. Tony Armand of my office has investigated every name on the list. 22 of them are listed as witnesses. Some have already perjured themselves, just as Petrov has. Others are waiting to do so. I therefore move that any testimony produced by them so far in this trial be stricken from the record.
Motion granted.
I further move that the testimony of the witness Petrov be allowed only insofar as it pertains to the illicit traffic in AB tickets.
Motion granted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
David, may I come in?
You know the answer to that.
Oh, David, I'm so ashamed.
Come on now. Come on, sit down.
You know, it's very difficult to apologize to the person you love the most.
You don't have to apologize for anything.
Yes, I do. Ever since lunch the other day, I've been thinking. I've read the papers. Oh, David, I've been so wrong. Jerry Barrett is innocent.
Yes, I think so.
You were wonderful today. I was so proud of you, even though I had no right to be.
Oh, you have all the right in the world. And if that's egomania, you make the most of it.
Sometimes I like your egomania, but only sometimes. David, I've interrupted your work.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Darling, after you've won this case, let's take a trip. As far away as we can get from a courtroom.
Supposing I lose?
Well, after what happened today, how could you lose?
I don't know. I may have proved today just how grossly incompetent Jerry Barrett really is.
What do you mean?
A captain who signs on 57 phony sailors, would you call that competence? I opened a wide door for Wendell, if he had sense enough to walk in.
But how could Jerry Barrett know those men were phonies?
Thereby, my good woman hangs our tail. How could he indeed? And why all those men on one ship?
What's the answer?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'll think about that tomorrow. Right now, I want to go home. With you.
Martin Ranker, care of the Phillips line, 101 Broadway.
How old are you, Mr. Ranker?
I'm 54.
How long have you been a seafaring man?
40 years. I was a cabin boy at 14, then ordinary seaman, then able seaman, and finally a deck officer.
How long have you been an officer?
30 years. The last 20 years with the Phillips line.
What ships of the Phillips line have you served?
The SS Nirvana, the SS Valhalla, SS Utopia, and the SS Paradise.
Were you transferred from ship to ship by company orders?
Yes.
Who gave you those orders?
The Commodore of the line, Captain Dominic Ashton.
What is a Commodore?
He's the senior captain of the line and always serves as master of the newest and most important ship.
The SS Paradise was such a ship?
Yes, she was the flagship.
How long did you serve in her?
1 year, 9 months, and 4 days, from the day she was commissioned until the day she was lost.
How did you happen to become an officer on the SS Paradise?
Captain Ashton selected all of his officers in the deck, engineering, and steward's department.
Who were the deck officers?
Captain Ashton, Chief Officer Barrett. I was second, Mr. Johnson third, and Mr. Clark, Junior third.
Would you say the defendant was rather young to be chief officer?
Well, yes and no. I know captains of smaller ships who are younger, but I suppose he was a bit young for the SS Paradise. I would like to say, sir, that Captain Barrett was a protege of Captain Ashton's, which means that he was a very capable officer.
Was Captain Ashton a strict disciplinarian?
Yes, he was.
Would you say he was specially harsh?
He was a stern man.
Did you and the defendant ever discuss Captain Ashton's discipline?
Frequently.
What did Barrett have to say about it?
I've heard him tell the old man to his face that he was too harsh with his crew.
Anything else?
That if he ever had a command of his own, he'd be more lenient.
What did Captain Ashton say?
He said if Captain Barrett didn't change his attitude, he'd never make a fine master.
I see. When Captain Ashton died in Port-au-Prince, did it surprise you that Barrett should be promoted to take over?
Oh, no, that's normal procedure for the chief mate to take over in such a case.
All right. We have Barrett in command until the fire. Did you in that time consider him to be a good, competent officer?
Well, it was his first command under difficult conditions.
That is not what I asked you, sir. Did you consider him to be a good, competent captain?
I'd rather not say, sir.
Witness will answer the question.
Well, I suppose he made some mistakes.
Give us some examples.
Nothing serious. Maybe he was a little too lenient with the crew. Maybe he socialized a bit too much.
Nothing serious? Where was he when the fire broke out?
He was in the first-class dining room. That's where he should have been. It was the night of the captain's dinner.
Since this was a temporary command, don't you suppose he might have foregone that pleasure?
That's not for me to say.
All right. The fire is in progress, and Captain Barrett finally reaches the bridge. Were you there?
Yes.
What was his behavior at that time?
Answer the question.
He seemed a bit under the influence of alcohol. I took command, but he recovered quickly and was able to reassume his duties.
But by the time he recovered, you had already sent out a distress message and had taken the other first important emergency steps.
Yes, sir.
Captain Barrett didn't do that, did he?
No, sir.
Mr. Ranker, would you blame the disaster on Captain Barrett?
You make it sound as though he started the fire.
Now, let me ask you this. If Captain Barrett had been in better control of the crew and had done less socializing, could the fire have been averted?
It's possible.
And is it possible that if Captain Barrett had been in full control of his faculties when he reached the bridge, the casualties might have been reduced?
That's possible, too.
Mr. Ranker, you know a Coast Guard Board of Inquiry has already ruled Captain Barrett criminally responsible for the disaster.
Yes.
You also know they do not blame any fraudulent seaman.
Yes.
Mr. Ranker, I want you to disregard any feeling of personal friendship you have for the defendant. I want a truthful, frank answer. Do you consider Captain Barrett innocent in this case, yes or no?
No.
Do you consider him criminally responsible for the deaths of 162, the injuries to 350 others, and the loss of the SS Paradise? Yes or no?
Yes.
Your witness.
Mr. Ranker, when did Captain Ashton die?
Just as we docked at Port-au-Prince.
How long did you stay in the port?
36 hours.
And during that time, Jeremy Barrett was made captain of the Paradise?
Yes.
Were there any other promotions?
Yes, right down the line. I became chief, Mr. Johnson second, and Mr. Clark third.
Who promoted you and Johnson and Clark?
Captain Barrett.
Now, there's been some testimony regarding the recruiting of replacements in Port-au-Prince. Can you tell us something about that?
Well, it's customary to have desertions in warm weather ports. Though 60 desertions is very high. And I must admit, I still feel that those desertions can be blamed on the very strict discipline of Captain Ashton. I know that that was Captain Barrett's feeling, too.
I see. How did you get the replacements?
Captain Barrett sent me ashore to recruit them. I got 57 men.
Where did you find them?
Waterfront hangouts, bars, that sort of place.
You're aware, aren't you, that most of these men were not sailors, that they had fraudulent AB tickets?
I only wish I'd known it at the time.
Had you never heard of this traffic before?
No.
Tell me, how did you go about recruiting the replacements?
Well, when you're recruiting a crew in a foreign port, you only look for two things. Is the man alive and does he have an AB ticket?
Did you examine their AB tickets?
Only to make sure that the men had them. The actual checking, if any, would be done by the captain when he signed the men on.
Would Captain Barrett have had any way of knowing that these tickets were fraudulent?
Oh, no. No, I don't see how he could.
I see. You say you spent 1 year, 9 months, and 4 days aboard the SS Paradise.
That's right.
Do you have any idea how long the defendant served in it?
The same time. We took her out on her maiden voyage and stayed with her.
Then from the time of the maiden voyage until the death of Captain Ashton, Mr. Barrett was chief officer and you were second.
Yes, sir.
It seems a little odd to me that a man of your tremendous experience as a deck officer should be junior to a man so much younger, so much less experienced.
No, it's not odd. The trend today is towards graduates of the Merchant Marine Academies, like Captain Barrett.
Oh, I see. Well, was Captain Ashton a Merchant Marine graduate?
Oh, no.
Are any of the other Phillips Line Masters Academy graduates?
No, I guess not.
Well, why do you suppose you're still a junior officer?
I'm afraid that's something you'll have to ask the Phillips Line officials.
I see. Now, the witness, Peter Martinez, who testified earlier, do you remember recruiting him in Port-au-Prince?
Vaguely. After all, I did recruit 57 men in a very short time.
Did you know then that he had a prison record?
No.
Your Honor, I now offer in evidence this document from the Cuban consulate in New York City. It is the prison record of Peter Sanchez, alias Peter Martinez. I would like to point out now that Sanchez was one of the few authentic ABs signed on in Port-au-Prince. Now, this
I'll have to object to this, Your Honor. I see no connection between the prison record of Sanchez and the issues of this trial.
Mr. Carson, have you any reply? Mr. Carson.
Oh, I beg Your Honor's pardon, sir. I'm offering this document subject to later consideration.
Then I'll allow it for the time being. Members of the jury, this document is a copy of an official record which authenticates that the witness, Peter Martinez, served 5 years in the prison at Santiago, Cuba for the crime of arson.
Arson, as you know, is the malicious burning of a dwelling or structure.
Yes, I know.
Mr. Ranker, how did you feel when Mr. Barrett was promoted to a position of captain of the Paradise?
Well, I admit I didn't like it.
Why?
I felt that I was better qualified to serve as master because of my greater experience.
Let's go back a bit. Did you also feel envious when Mr. Barrett was made chief officer and you were made only second?
Yes. Yes, I was envious. I'm only human.
For many years now, you've seen younger men raised to positions of high rank while you've been passed over, isn't that right?
Yes, that's true.
Did these promotions also cause you pangs of envy?
As I said, I'm only human.
Did you ever wonder why you were passed over?
Yes.
Did you ever discuss this matter with the Phillips Line officials?
No.
Why not?
I'm a seaman, sir. I take orders without question. I do what I'm told to do.
Mr. Ranker, you know, of course, that evaluation reports are made of every officer in the Phillips Line.
Yes.
And that these reports serve as the basis of promotion.
That's generally the rule.
The captain of the SS Nevada notes in filling out such a report on you that you are an able and experienced deck officer. But he says, and I quote, "I have become aware that Mr. Ranker is deeply resentful of Academy graduates, which I feel would limit his effectiveness in a position of higher command." Was the captain wrong?
I object to this line of questioning. Mr. Ranker's failure to be promoted has no bearing on this case.
I beg to differ. The witness has expressed the opinion that the defendant is guilty. The court is entitled to know whether that opinion is unprejudiced.
The questions are in order. Proceed.
Was the captain wrong?
Look, I had a squabble with this young deck officer once. He got so and told the captain I had it in for him because he was an academy man. It wasn't the case at all. Something else entirely.
What?
I don't think that matters.
All right. Perhaps you can explain this report also. It was made by the captain of the SS Valhalla. It notes that you drank heavily.
I drank some. Every sailor does. I never drank on duty, never.
I renew my objection and ask that the question be stricken from the record.
This is a question of fact which is proper for the jury to determine. Objection overruled.
What about your temper?
Temper?
A violent one, according to Captain Ashton.
That's not true.
Well, in his report, he says that you struck one sailor and that you almost strangled another. This is a matter of record, and if necessary, we can present witnesses.
They deserved it. It's the only way to handle them. Aboard a ship, you need discipline. Captain Ashton knew that.
Your Honor, I would like to present this in evidence. Mr. Anker, the witness, Peter Martinez, is dead, murdered by an officer of the SS Paradise. New York City police officers are now in this courtroom, waiting to arrest that murderer. The murderer was a very foolish man. He forgot he was wearing a uniform. He forgot that people could see him. You followed Martinez the day before yesterday when this court adjourned.
I did not.
You took a taxi cab. The number was 095436. You followed Martinez to his room and you stabbed him to death, and then you fled from the building.
What are you trying to do?
The taxi driver can identify you when you entered that building. Mr. Tony Armand of my office saw you leaving the building. What you did was no more of a secret than a home run in the Yankee Stadium.
I'm not the one being tried here. It's Barrett. He's the one responsible for the fire. He's the one who should be punished.
You want one more man to suffer for your crime, is that it? 162 deaths are not enough? Don't lie anymore, Ranker. You're the guilty one, on every count. You knew Martinez was an arsonist. You hired him to set fire to the ship. When you realized that we were onto him because of his past record, you realized that you had to shut him up before he could involve you. Ranker, you killed Peter Martinez, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, I killed him. He burned my ship. I didn't mean it to be a bad fire. I didn't know he'd use explosives. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I just wanted it to be a little fire. I'd discover it and control it before it could hurt the ship. And the company would know that Barrett wasn't fit for command and I was. 30 years I worked and waited and been passed over. I wanted that ship, that command. I didn't want to hurt her. Explosion. The fire out of control before I could stop it. Martinez. Yes, I killed him. I had to kill him. He killed my ship. I did. What difference did one more make? I'd already killed 162 innocent people. And the thing I wanted most in all the world, my ship. God. God.
Well, that's a fine note. I just decide no more being a publicity hound and you start saving my clippings.
Well, this is one case I want our children to read about.
There you are.
Oh.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
What happens to Jerry Barrett now, David?
Well, Jerry goes out again next week as chief officer for the Phillips line. He'll get another command. He's a good man. Company? Well, Jerry!
Hi.
Mrs. Barrett, come on in. Hey, it's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you came. Well, you know my wife, Robin, don't you, Mrs. Barrett?
Yes, how are you?
Well.
Nice to see you. Oh, thank you. Oh, they're lovely.
You're welcome.
What's this?
This is for you. Your fee for helping my daddy. It's my own money.
A whole $1. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much.
You earned it.
This goes in the scrapbook, too. Make it page 1, huh?